Hello and welcome to the British Dapper, and today we're talking about 10 fashion rules for every intentionally well-dressed gentleman. So while fashion rules can change varying upon a person's trend or style, here are 10 essential rules every gentleman should follow. And today the first one I'm going to look at is tailoring is key. And having that suit or that jacket that fits you just right really does emphasize all the positive things about you and the way that you look is going to be a major asset to your wardrobe and to you personally. When it comes to suits, I would suggest maybe we're looking at a dark blue or a navy, maybe a light mid-blue, a charcoal grey suit, or maybe a mid-grey or light grey suit. Maybe a flannel one that would be really good for that winter autumn wear. That could be quite easily replaced by something like a tweed, which is great for those colder times of the year and gives you a much more heavier, robust suit to wear. The next thing I would suggest is embrace timeless style. And what I mean by that is a classic look. Fashion is fleeting, it's here today, in 6 months' time it's gone, and to a degree it rarely comes back in its original form. But what I would suggest is that when you get that suit, go for a classic fit. Don't go for something with narrow lapels or too bigger lapels until you establish your own style and the way you want to look. Go for the middle area all the time, so mid-width on the lapel, and maybe the same with the ties, and also with the fit of the jacket we're looking at a traditional cut rather than a slim or skinny fit cut. Something that would give you a little bit of room to manoeuvre and move around in without looking too restrictive or feeling too restrictive, yet at the same time not being too baggy and not giving you any shape. A well-tailored blazer is a great addition, and when I mean a blazer I don't just mean the formal blazer with metal buttons, but maybe a sport coat of some description would be a good addition as well to your wardrobe, and that incorporates that tweed jacket, which can go really well when accompanied with a pair of jeans in an informal setting, or dressed up with a pair of chinos or wool trousers and a tie to make it a little bit more of a traditional look and a little bit heightened for that business casual look potentially. Something else to consider is that white shirt. Crisp white shirts really do stand out, very classical, and with that look, the other thing I would suggest is shoes. Shoes are very important in a wardrobe, and it doesn't have to be really expensive shoes, but well maintained shoes, so giving them a really good clean and polish will always draw attention. Keep them well serviced as well. Get them reheeled if needed and resoled, or any embellishments on the shoes, get them repaired as soon as possible. The other thing that I would suggest is that attention to detail is paramount. So when we're actually talking about what we're going to wear, it's the attention to detail. For example, the cufflinks that you use, the watch that you're going to wear. It could be the pocket square complementing the tie. The attention to detail in that you give your suit a brush before you put it on. You clean your shoes. You make sure that everything is as clean and presentable as possible. Give the shirt a good iron as an example. All those little things really do count. And when it comes to that stylish look, we're not looking for anything too outrageous. Whilst a tie pin will add a little bit of detail, it doesn't need to be too excessive. We don't want to draw too much attention to that tie pin or tie clip. It's there for a purpose to hold the tie in place. Same with lapel badges. A little badge might draw attention and create interest for a conversation, but we don't want anything too large or too broachy to distract rather than engage properly in conversation. And that pocket square adds a touch of sophistication to the look. So don't be afraid to use a pocket square. And even if you're not sure how to do it, you can always just literally stuff it in and just wear it as it is. You'll get good results. So the next thing I'm going to come on to is personal grooming. So for example, making sure you have a regular haircut, and if you have a beard, get it trimmed regularly. When it comes to personal hygiene, have a shower regularly. Make sure if you've got a job that creates grime or dirt under the fingernails, then clean them and use barrier creams where necessary to prevent dirt getting ingrained in the skin. And little things like that make a lot of difference in your presentation overall. Think about an aftershave. 80% of men don't wear aftershave. That's a significant difference. Men that do wear it get compliments from women if you make the right choice with it. So when you go and find your own personal signature aftershave or scent, make sure it's something that's going to be acceptable for the majority of people. But at the end of the day, it's your choice and it's what you feel adds to your character that counts. So the next thing I'm going to cover is shoes matter. Now when you're going to wear a pair of shoes, they really do draw attention, and a lot of people measure other people by the quality of the shoes and the condition of their shoes. It says a lot about the person that's wearing them. It's not uncommon to see people that are ex-forces mirror shine the toe caps, or people that have learnt that skill, mirror shine their toe caps to make their shoes look even better and presented well. But even if you don't have that skill or don't want that look, a good regular clean of those shoes does make a real difference. And the maintenance of those shoes is paramount in keeping a nice, crisp, conditioned shoe. For example, using shoe trees on a regular basis, cleaning them regularly, making sure there's no detritus underneath the sole of the shoe or on the heel. Make sure you get the shoe re-heeled if necessary on a regular basis. Invest in a few quality shoes. It doesn't take a lot, maybe a black pair and a brown pair, and you've got the makings of a good look depending on the type of outfits you're going to wear. Black being more formal and brown being less formal. But with that combination, I would suggest consider black toe cap Oxfords are the most formal of black shoes. But if you don't like that look because they are quite plain, then maybe go for a brogue, a semi-brogue, or something like that, where you get a little bit of beading or broguing on the shoe. And the same, you could look at a derby rather than an Oxford shoe. So an Oxford shoe is where the lacing system is enclosed, and a derby shoe, for example, is where we have an overlap, two flaps that come together, which is a different closing system. But I would always suggest, if in doubt, go for brogues. The next thing I'm going to suggest is appropriate attire for the occasion. So for example, if it's a very formal occasion where it stresses black tie, then you wear something that is going to be compatible with that dress code. So if you don't have a black tie, then maybe check if a lounge suit would be acceptable. But to the other extreme, if you're meeting the lads for a drink in the pub and it's a very informal thing, then it wouldn't really be in place if you attended wearing a black tie when everybody else is wearing casual trousers and a jacket. So it's a case of think about what other people would be wearing. Maybe if you're going to dress up, go up one notch. Just go that one level above what they would be wearing. Just remember, dressing to the right level shows or demonstrates your respect for the other people present. So when it comes to accessories, the next thing I'm going to talk about is understated accessories. So in other words, very low key, very simple pieces of jewellery, for example, not excessive amounts of jewellery. A timeless classic watch is a really good addition to anybody's wardrobe. Cufflinks are a great addition as well, and I would say don't go for the novelty ones. Go for something that actually is really stylish and very simple and elegant. For example, gold or silver cufflinks with a single diamond stud is a very good look and goes with just about anything you're going to wear. The other extreme, maybe a pair of enamels. For example, I've got some here. They go really well, but they are not too excessive. And when it comes to belts, for example, trouser belts, whilst you may wish to wear a belt, try and think about the colour coordination of that belt with, for example, your shoes. So if you're wearing black shoes, I'd advise you to potentially consider wearing a black belt rather than a brown one or some other colour that would stand out and clash with the overall look. But potentially the belt shouldn't be seen anyway if the jacket's done up properly. But it's something to consider, and I would always suggest consider whether you want to wear that belt in the first place, because sometimes a belt doesn't give you a very flattering look when you're wearing trousers. Maybe a pair of braces might be better for you, or side tabs on the trousers, adjusters that will actually tighten or loosen depending on your size, and you can get an exact fit that way. But the overall thing I would suggest is about understatement, so nothing too flashy, too garish, and I think you'll get a very good look overall. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is mixing patterns and textures. Don't be afraid to mix and match things to get a little bit of a contrasting going. So for example, if you've got a really tweedy jacket, maybe consider wearing that silk tie with it. Or you could wear, for example, a wool tie that's got a very heavy texture to it, a herringbone pattern for example, and it really does stand out. But don't be afraid to wear those mixed fabrics. So for example, you could be wearing a very heavy shirt, as in it's a full cotton shirt, but it could be a herringbone pattern on it. It could be something along the lines of stripes, for example, on a shirt, contrasting against something else that you're wearing. Don't be afraid to use a patterned tie with a striped shirt, but be careful about the type of pattern you're going to use. Maybe small motifs on the tie would be much better than a very big loud paisley if you're wearing a very bold striped shirt. So that brings me on to seasonal wardrobes. Now what I'm suggesting with this is that you look at the seasons that you wear different types of clothes. For example, you could do it in two halves. For example, those colder months and those warm months. So for example, come the end of spring and into the beginning of autumn is a warm period. But when we come to the end of October or mid-October onwards through to mid-spring, then we're talking about colder periods. So you could literally divide your wardrobe into two halves for those periods. Or you could do it particularly by season. So spring stuff, then roll out your summer stuff, then your autumn stuff, which would potentially be very similar to your spring wear. And then finally the wardrobe would change to accommodate winter outfits. So we're talking about thicker suits, thicker jackets, warmer trousers, boots potentially, overcoats, those sort of things. Whereas in the summer period and the warmer period, you might be looking at linen jackets, very thin fabrics, and maybe summer shoes, and lighter spring-like wear for those warmer months. So very thin jackets, maybe those polo shirts compared to the winter wear. I do know some people actually put their winter wardrobes in storage and their summer wardrobes and rotate them that way. But one of the most important things about your seasonal wardrobe is no matter when you're wearing your outfits, you should always feel comfortable in them. Not overheating because you're too much on, and not too cold because you're not wearing enough. And that comes down to practice and understanding your fabrics that you're using, which you'll gain over time and practical experience. So the final thing we're going to talk about, and number 10 on the list, is confidence is key. No matter what you wear, it's how you wear it and your mental state when you wear it. You're demonstrating confidence, and that will come across. It's said that a gentleman exudes self-confidence and carries himself with grace and dignity. So it's something to aspire to if you're not already doing that. But that all comes with practice and by exposure to wearing items of clothes and mixing with like-minded individuals. So remember, these rules are adaptable and they're just based upon 10 areas that I feel a gentleman would benefit from applying these rules to the way that they dress and the way that they look after themselves and present themselves. But I'm interested to know what your ideas are. Is there anything I've missed off that list that you would have included? And when it comes to dressing the part and behaving the part of a gentleman, is there something else that we could add to that list? So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give us a thumbs up. If you'd like to subscribe, then please feel free to do so. We have a Buy Me a Coffee page, so if you'd like to make a contribution to the channel, then please feel free to do so. We also love constructive comments, so if you'd like to make some, jot them down below. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. And if you've got a question you'd like to pose to us or you'd like an answer to, then why not jot it down? We'll try and answer your question for you. We also like ideas for future videos, so if you want to make a contribution and make a suggestion about future content, then please, again, jot it in the notes below and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. The next video could be something that you've recommended or suggested. So until next time, take care.